Good morning. This is the MAT081 video you've been waiting for. It's the solution guide to the practice test for the first unit test we're going to be taking, covering units 1, 2, and 3. You should have already completed the practice test. You should have done all of your studying, and now you should be taking a look to sort of finalize anything that you didn't quite understand or weren't quite sure of. Hopefully, as you go through this, you're doing well. But again, it will also help you answer any questions that might be lingering. Please do get any assistance that you need. Contact me, get to the tutor center, do what you need so that you're well prepared. And one of the things I'm going to teach you right now to prepare you for an exam is to get in touch with your emotional side. Remember, that oftentimes is what can block your mathematical abilities that you've developed by all your practice and your study. So if you'll just for a moment sit peacefully, quietly, relax. Close your eyes. I find that helpful. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't be in a hurry about anything. For this moment, just watch the breath as it comes in and observe it as it goes out. If you feel any stress, say in the stomach or the chest area, let the in-breath cleanse it, and with the out-breath, take it away. Breathe in, breathe out. Find that place of quiet and peace, and now we're ready to begin. So we'll take a look at this practice test, step by step, 15 problems, just like you'll face on the actual test. Just remember, this is the practice. But if you're ready for this, you will be ready for the in-class test. Okay, switch on over now. Here's our practice test. This is what the page will look like when you come in to take the test, except it'll be version A. And it won't be practice test, it'll be a real test. So for the instructions, you will be able to write on the packet. In fact, you'll need to write on the packet. There's no separate answer form. On the packet, you will, on the paper, you will clearly circle the answer of your choice. Remember, I've given you the answers, but for every right answer, I gave you 3 wrong answers. So your goal is to find the right answer. You may use a scientific or graphing calculator or regular calculator. You see the one I have here is just my computer's calculator. You do not get to use a book or notes, and you must mark your answers on the exam. Please do answer each question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this down a little bit so that we'll just look at one question at a time. And then we'll go through this step by step, 15 questions. So here we go, the first question. We'll start off with the nice yellow color. So the first question is asking us to round to the nearest 1,000. Okay, 1,000. And what you're going to want to think about for what 1,000 is this place value chart, which you should kind of have in your mind. We start off with the ones, the 1, the 10, and the hundreds. The thousands are the next, right after the comma, and the thousands place, or the 1,000s place if we want, is right after the comma. So that's the digit we're going to be looking for. So what we're looking to round to is right here. So we're going to look at the 8. And what we have is that the number we are given, 3238 951 will get either rounded up or down. And so I'm going to write the two choices we have. It will either get rounded up to 3, and we're looking for this place here, the thousandths place, 2, 3, 9, 0, 0, 0, or it will get rounded down to 3, 2, 3, 8. Now we don't think of this so the 8 didn't go down, but the number itself has gone down. How do we determine whether we round down or round up? We look just to the next one, just to the right, to see if we're halfway to the next one or if we're not halfway. In my book, halfway is 5. 5 or above. We are above 5, so what we're going to do is we're going to round this one up. And so then we find the one that looks like this top answer. And notice that is going to be option A. And in carefully doing this, we notice that option B is not even there. All the others are rounded incorrectly to a wrong place. I guess they're correct if you were to round it to, like, this one here is rounded to the 100,000ths place. So if you chose that, you had the wrong place value. This one, the C, is rounded to the tens place. And the last one appears to be rounded to the 10,000ths place. Okay, so they're rounded to the wrong place. A is the correct one. Okay, let's keep moving forward then. So now we've got number 2. And we're told that Mickey rode her skateboard an average of 6 miles per hour. If she rode 24 hours this month, how far did she travel this month? So we're going 24 hours in the month. She's doing 6 miles per hour. For each hour, when you see that word per, it's a rate. It's happening each hour. And then we've got multiple hours. So hopefully this suggests to you to find the total value that she wants, we need to multiply the 6 miles for each hour times how many hours she was riding her skateboard. And so for 2, we're going to look at 6 miles per hour times 24 hours. And that's going to give us, who can memorize that one, right? 24 times 6, or 6 times 24 will give us both the same answers, 144. And so we're going to go ahead and circle that. Okay, and a little bit later we'll kind of do this, but what we could think of this is 6 miles per hour. I know it's a little advanced, but what we really did is 24 hours is that, notice the hours divides out the hours. So when we keep track of units this way, and when we multiply, what we end up with is our 144, and the units remaining are miles. So you'll look at this a little bit more in the future. Okay, that's 2. 3. We've got Freddie, who is comparing 2 paychecks. His first was $16 more than his second one. And his first paycheck was $387. So what we're noticing is that the first paycheck was more. if we want to find out how much the second paycheck is, it's going to be less. It's going to be smaller by $16. And so what we have to do is actually subtract. So for 3, we're going to take our $837. We're going to subtract 16 from that. And let's see, we could do it this way. We get 1, we get 2, we get 8. Or we could go to the calculator. Double check. 837 minus 16. You had to note it. Subtract, not add. And 821 is here, see. So we'll circle that. Perfect. I think the closest other one some people may check is the 852, because you would add the 6 because you see the more than and you think of addition. If we had the second one, we'd add the 16 to get to the first, but they gave us the first, so we have to subtract. Okay? Let's keep on rolling. So now we got Donnie and his friends having a business. The first month they earned $455. They also paid $75 for costs. And then they shared the remaining money. Shared. Remember, that's one of our words for division, to divide among friends. So how much did each receive? Well, first, they made the total amount of money, $455. They had to pay their expenses first, so we have to subtract that off first. Order of operations. Gives us this. 2, the complement is 2, that gives 8 and 3, $380. And then since there are 4 friends, we're going to divide this by 4. 380 divided by 4. And incidentally, if you didn't have trouble with some of these ones I'm working, videos can be fast forwarded. Be option B. So be sure to move it forward, and it can be brought back if you didn't get everything you needed the first time. So there we go. We're down to problem 4. Let's pick up the pace a little bit. And we're now at 5, so we're about a third of the way once we're done with this. Now this is showing us we don't need to we actually are not asked to calculate, but we've got to think, how would we calculate? Okay, so this month Corey earned 4 times as much as she earned tutoring last month. So this time she made 4 times more. 4 times as much. She earned 4 times as much as she earned tutoring last month. Plus, in addition to that, she earned another $60 babysitting. So last month she earned $220 tutoring. Not bad. But what we're going to do is, this month is 4 times that. So for number 5, we're going to want to take what she made last month, and the first thing we need to do is multiply that by 4. And then we need to add a 60. So the multiplication has to happen first, and then we need to add the 60. So multiplying, then adding. Well, this doesn't work because this is adding and then multiplying. This is multiplying the wrong things. This is she earned 4 times the tutoring amount, so it's got to be D. Multiply and then add. So they've written it in a different form. They put the 4 first, but it's the same thing as what we had. Very good. Let's move on to 6. And we talked about this one in class as well. Well, actually, we talked about just about all of these, but let's take this statement here. And remember, when the sign is in front of a number, it's read as negative. When the sign is in between numbers, that's when it is a minus or a subtraction sign. And again, this one's going to be, the one in front of the number is going to be a negative. So we're looking for negatives in front of the numbers. Okay, this is kind of close, but this middle part's wrong. -5 minus -3, that's really what we're looking for. -5 minus, no, this part is wrong here. And this one, the minuses in front of the numbers is not the correct way to characterize this operation. So C is the correct answer. Remember, negative for that sign in front of numbers, and a minus only when it's between numbers. Let's go ahead and look at 7. What the heck, we've got lots of room. Let's maybe give ourselves a little bit more room. So we've got a temperature in Flagstaff changed by -9 degrees. That means it dropped 9 degrees in 3 days, means over 3 days. So for the total was -9 degrees, happened over 3 days, and if it's changing at the same amount each day, what was the change in temperature per day? Well, again, we're sharing that change over the days. So for 7, we want to take -9 and divide it by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. A negative divided by a positive is negative. And again, really that's our only choices. They're all negatives, but it would be -3. Notice D is if you mistakenly multiplied instead of divided. 9 is if it, C is if it happened all in one day, and I'm not sure where A is coming from. Okay. Here we go. We're going to move on, and let's see. I think we can have a little extra room here. Sammy. And then you guys can let me know which one you preferred, looking one question at a time, or maybe looking at the screen this way with several questions at once. So Sammy has $35 in her checking account. Izzy has -15. He has, or she has overdrawn their account. But the question is, which symbolic expression represents how much more money Sammy has compared to Izzy? So we're comparing really the difference between these two. So we start with, and it's, let's see, who are we starting with? We're Sammy compared to Izzy. So Sammy's got to go first, $35. And then we've got to subtract Izzy's. So we got to go this route, 35 minus a -15, which, yes, it's it turns to a 35 plus 15, but it looks like A is the one we've got. Okay, so the one comparison, whoever you're comparing to, Sammy as compared to Izzy. So Sammy comes first. We go ahead and compare it first. Number 9, a cold day in Kazakhstan. The temperature dropped 26 degrees Celsius overnight. So that's a negative. If the temperature was -15 degrees before the drop, which symbolic expression represents temperature after the drop? So this is our starting temperature. That's what we started with, and from that we're going to drop, which means to subtract or minus 28. So this would be the correct way to write it. And the negative 15 is a negative number, so oftentimes that's why they put the parentheses around it. So it looks like we're going to go with D. Now, B is wrong because you're subtracting a negative, which would actually make a positive. You'd be adding, and you'd be over the amount. A is wrong because it didn't start at negative 15. It's showing it's starting out positive 15. Okay, and C has it in the wrong order. Which of the following is the correct ordering of the given numbers from least to greatest? And for number 10, what we're looking at is negative 12 is actually the most negative number. It's the smallest number. Positive numbers are always bigger than negative. Negative 7 is going to have to get moved down, and so is the 0, so the 5 will get moved to the front. So it should start with 5, 0 in the middle. So D is going to be our proper ordering for the numbers. And again, one way to do this is put them all on a number line. So 0 is somewhere here. We know 5 is bigger than 0. We'll put it over there. Negative 7 is smaller than 0. And negative 12 is the most negative, so it's got to go down here. That's the correct ordering. So George is baking 48 cookies for his scout troop. He wants to share the cookies equally among his 13 scouts. Share equally means to divide. How many cookies will each scout get, and how many cookies will be left over? So first, how many times does 13 go into 48 evenly? So I'll go ahead and just do the division over here. So we're going to take 48 divided by 13. .69. Now what that means, it goes in there 3 times evenly. So kind of ignore the decimal. It doesn't mean 6 cookies or half left up, whatever. It means that we get, every person will get 3. So 3 times 13 is how many of the cookies will get taken. So only 39 are going to get distributed. So now to figure out how many are left over, because really we're looking at either A or D, right? How many are left over, we subtract 39 from the 48. And that looks like that will give us 9 cookies. And again, we could use the calculator on that or what, but more than 5, it's right here. 9 cookies. Okay, number 12. We're given a statement, 4 times 6 equals 24. Which of the following statements is true? 24 is a factor of 6. That's incorrect. 24 is a multiple of 6. So factor of 6 is, I could multiply something times 24 and get 6. That's not correct. 24 is divisible by 6. Yes, I could take 24 and divide it by 6. That is correct. 4 is a factor of 6. No, 4 and 6 are factors of 24. So it's kind of wrong thinking there. And 4 is divisible by 24. Again, that's backwards. 24 is divisible by 4. So it's got to switch around. This is written backwards, which makes it incorrect. Okay. For 13, which of the following is a prime factorization of 120? For this one, you could multiply each of these out, and what you find is that they all multiply to 120. So what we're looking for is which is the prime factorization. So we're looking for something that has all prime numbers. For A, that can't be correct because 15 is 3 times 5, which makes it not prime. It has factors other than 1 in itself, not prime. 10 for the same reason is 2 times 5. It's not prime. C is also has a non-prime. 4 is 2 times 2. That makes it not prime. But we see that D, 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5, that's the one with all primes. And the way to do this sort of from the start is to take our 120. We really want to do this right. And then we want to break it down. Well, what goes into 120? Well, it ends in a 0, so I know 5 will go into 120. And 20 divided by 5 gives me the other fact. That's 24. Now, remembering from my list of primes, 5 is prime, so I'm done with that one. 24 can be broken down further. Two things that go into 24. Well, I could think of, well, let's just start with 2, because if we always use a prime, we know we end up with 1. 2 goes into 24 12 times, so that's prime. 12 can be broken down into 2 and 6. That's prime. And then 6 is going to be 2 and 3. So there's all our primes. 3 2s, a 3, and a 5. That's that one right there. Last 2 questions. Let's go ahead and take a look at these. 14. Okay, we want to find the LCM, lowest common multiple, least common multiple. So the best way to do this without getting confused about factoring and everything else is to, instead of factoring, let's look at multiples. So we've got the number 16 and we've got the number 24. What we want to do is start listing their factors. Well, this is the first factor. We multiply by 1. If we multiply each of them by 2, we get the sorry, did I say factor? These are the first multiples. The second multiple would be 16 times 2. That's going to give us 32. Another factor would be times 3, so 16 times 3. Just multiply them out, take your time, that's 48. Let's go ahead and check 24. 24 times 2, because maybe we've already got one. 24 times 2, that's 48 as well. And we could keep going, but why? We've got common multiples right here, 48 and 48. 3 times 16 and 2 times 24. But the important part is 48 is the smallest. If we kept going with this list, we would find additional ones that were common multiples. But what we want is we want the smallest one. We've got it, so let's just be done. 48. And some of these others are multiples, but they're too large. 4 is a factor, not a multiple. So that's that. So which of the following are prime numbers? We're given 3 numbers, and then we've got some choices of which are prime and which are not prime. What we might want to do is use some of our divisibility rules. So first of all, are any of them divisible by 2? Well, no, because it has to end in an even number. 31 is not even, 47 is not even, and 93 is not even. So we don't have to worry about that. What's the divisibility rule for 3? It's when we add the 2 digits together, or 3 digits, add digits. And if that number is divisible by 3, then so is that. So 3 plus 1 is 4. That's not divisible by 3. 47, 4 plus 7, that's equal to 11. That can't be divided by 3. But 9 and 3, 9 plus 3, that equals 12. And I can take 12 divided by 3. So I know 93 can also be divided by 3. That is not prime. Now I just kind of look at my options. My options are, there is not a single one that, well, there's a 3 only, but I know that's not prime. Everything else is 1 and 2, is a combination of 2. So I could also see that both of the numbers 1i and ii are not divisible by 5. So they're good candidates here for being prime, and because of my options that I'm given, I've got to go with D. It's certainly not 2 and 3. 3's not it. It's not 1 and 3. 3's not it. So it's got to be D. So that's the 15 questions. Let's see. How long did that take us? Not too bad. Hopefully you're well prepared and you know how to deal with any anxiety that might come up. Just watch your breath. Cleanse your stomach and your chest of any kind of stress, because you're well prepared. By watching this video, you know what the test is going to look like. You know what you're being tested on. You know what you need to do to improve your abilities to understand the content. And again, it's not just about passing a test, but the test is verifying that you understand the content to move forward. So go back and review the first review packet if you have any lingering questions or some concepts that you don't understand. Come back, review this again, and work through some of the homework. Go back and get ready. Get plenty of sleep the night before. You need your rest. And just keep moving forward, making great progress and success. We'll see you in class soon. Take care.